Recording.
We've got some cool stuff coming up. Ah, ka, 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 ka. Ooh. Things only can't hear us really high
That was really cool the way you led into that, by the way.
Thank you.
Oh,
There it is. There's the clap. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Midnight Movie Distillery. I'm one of your hosts, Logan Lynch.
I'm another one of your hosts, Warwick Price.
And I'm the third guy on the end, Lon Black. We
We watched some movies, didn't we?
We got a unique episode today.
Yeah.
Unique in terms of normally, obviously, we do one episode per movie and bourbon, but because basically these movies are
They're short.
effectively-
They're shorter. They're shorter in length, right?
No, I think they're the same
Right.
length as a normal movie, but the bottom line is it's like they're all related to the same topic.
And honestly, so I came across on Reddit somebody complaining about this. Why
Did you
do
wipe
we
up
have?
afterwards?
Yes. What? Did I miss something?
I don't know.
Warwick caught it.
Yes.
When I was reading it through, somebody had mentioned, says, why do we have three Popeye movies, horror movies, based on Popeye, all releasing at once? Which, of course, we know the answer to that. That's because eminent domain.
Yes, eminent
Public
domain.
domain.
Public
It
domain.
it just happened, and for anyone that's last year watched our was it actually last year? Let's go. Watched our
Sorry.
Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey episode, and
was last
we decided not to review Blood and Honey 2. But these IP items have become public domain, and so there's all these people that are kind of jumping on the bandwagon. So Popeye, 3 movies have come out, and those 3 movies are Shiver Me Timbers, Shiver Me Timbers,
Shiver Me
Me
Timbers.
Timbers.
Popeye the
Revenge.
Slayer.
Popeyes
Popeyes
Revenge.
Revenge,
And
and
Popeye
Popeyes
the Slayer.
Slayer Man.
Wow, we just fucked that up.
Yeah.
Aren't we
Well,
professionals?
we have had
What
some stuff to
We
drink
have been
already.
drinking a little bit already.
We haven't seen
So-
that episode. Go for it.
As all of you know, we also like to pair our whiskey reviews with bourbon reviews.
With whiskey.
With
Or
whiskey
with
reviews.
whiskey.
Alcoholic beverages is
There
actually
you go.
how we prefer to say
They're
it
not,
because,
they're not always bourbons.
sometimes we've had Pisco.
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 Yeah.
Pisco.
And
Peace
this,
and go.
this is also not a bourbon.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
And since these movies were pretty questionable,
Okay.
and
Oh my God.
it's
Zachariah Harris.
no, we've done that
God,
already.
Okay.
Can't do
Malort?
it twice.
Zachariah Harris, single barrel.
When
Cast
it's one of those things that we know there's a good chance we're not going to like it,
No, no.
but
Oh
we
my
do
God.
it anyway.
We love you.
We have
What?
the Walking Dead
Oh!
edition of Sexton, which is an Irish whiskey.
Oh, Jesus
Might want to
Christ.
spin that.
But
Oh, do we
let's-
wanna go
let's
to-
go
Wait, let's go
Let's
to our
go,
awesome.
Well, look at that.
Look how
Fucking
professional.
Sexton. We look professional. right
Sexton Walking Dead edition.
now? Okay.
See right down there, it says Walking Dead edition Sexton. Nice little skull up there.
I
It's got a
have
skull
we
on
had
the top.
Sexton before?
We got to do with it. We have not.
Okay.
I like the bottle.
There's the guy on the cap there. So yeah, you can see on the side they do little
Oh, it says
hints
together.
to it, right, together and all that stuff. So it's a cool bottle.
So is this going to make me go? "Argh,"
Let's hope so.
Walking Dead.
It's a cool bottle,
I got it.
Thank you. I try.
but
Now it looks like
it's
it's got
an
a
Irish
cork.
whiskey. If you guys want to take a look at that
Ooh,
and do
yeah,
your looky.
I gotta put my glasses on and see what I've got here.
Yeah.
Now, what do we know about Sexton?
Like,
They've been around a while.
How did they get the Walking Dead?
Well,
Yeah,
they
how
license.
They were going to get it.
I don't remember. What the hell's the name? Rick Grimes or whatever.
Yes.
Drinking anything like this on there.
No, not at all. Do you want to take a look?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a gander here. I like the feel of the bottle. I like the. That's interesting. A little a zombie hat wearing. Is that a trilby hat? No, that's not a trilby hat. What do they call
No.
this kind of hat? Just a top hat.
It's just a top hat, yeah.
So this is a single malt Irish whiskey. Uh-oh.
Mhm.
Well, that's what he
But
said.
a single malt, so
Uh-oh.
that gives me some
Yeah, but
hope.
it's Irish, don't you?
Do we have the switch screen? Can we
I,
switch it?
I don't
No, we
have
don't
that
have
set up yet.
Now, I thought
You
we
said
did.
that
I
in the
thought we-
last episode.
I thought we had-
It's
'cause I
set
got
up
it
on the
plugged
laptop
in.
over there, but I don't have it on my cheat.
Triple
Something
distilled
Sorry.
We got alcohol is 40% by volume, so that's what, 80 proof, right?
Yep.
That's all right. It's crafted in the cold, gray northern reaches of
County.
Antrim.
County Antrim.
County Antrim. Is that supposed to be a
It's a county.
reference
Yeah, it's a county.
to Walking Dead?
No, just
Oh.
County Antrim.
I gotcha.
So
We fight for our future. We don't fight for
Oh,
our
Ross Marquand.
apparently curated by Ross Marquand, who
Wow.
was in Walking Dead.
He was. Not for a long time, but
No,
Oh, so they
not
had
too many people are in it for a long time.
so they have quotes from Daryl and Michonne in here.
Oh,
Really?
Interesting. Yeah,
What's
we
the
fight
quote?
we fight for our future. We don't fight for revenge. Daryl.
I think they just made that up.
Surrounded by darkness, there are still flashes of light. Michonne.
Wow.
all right.
Okay, let's
Well,
crack
let's
this
crack
bitch
it
open.
open.
It's
Pass that
human
on
nature
back.
to come together,
Oh,
so we just
sorry.
do a circle jerk, is what they're saying. That was Rick Grimes. Life is always a test, and that was Herschel.
Okay, let's pop
Herschel.
that one
Herschel.
open.
On Shlomo. I see, like they even went in the wrapper around the
Yeah.
top. Yes, is actually. Do you need a little help with that?
I was looking for the perforated part that.
I don't think it's perforated. They want that shit locked up, just like the only dead are inside there.
Yes. Dead inside.
Oh, ooh, all right.
You can have that.
Aw.
All right, let's. Where's my microphone?
Yeah.
Kinda
Okay,
light,
that was
kinda high pitched.
that was a tight one.
Interesting.
Oh,
Interesting.
does it smell like dead?
No.
Oh,
Does it smell like the dead? Nice.
wow, that's
Oh,
It's
almost,
unique.
almost has like a really fruity,
like a
oh,
fruit
hold
juice
on there.
almost.
Yeah.
It's
like
very
like
fruity.
a grape.
Oh, like a winey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the difference between a
Dare I
lot of the
say
other
Chianti?
Irish whiskeys we have is I don't think we've had any of them that were single malt.
So this is still the same sexton. It's just a bottle
Correct.
difference.
It's
Okay.
just a collector's bottle.
Okay.
Oh shit! This is
Wow.
not an easy bottle to pour from, by the way.
Yeah,
It's
a
It
dribbler.
dribbles.
It's got the dribble. There you go.
Okay.
It's
All right. Lon is having troubles pouring, but that's
yeah,
okay.
this is terrible. Look at that. I mean, it just dribbles all over the fucking place.
All right. So automatically a point off for that.
Yeah,
Obviously.
man. I mean, that's not what
It's
you want.
definitely got some.
Weird bottle.
Interesting. Is it? See, I feel like it should be poured normal.
It's got some pong to it.
Okay.
It does. It
Pung
does.
to
There's
it?
a little bit of a
Pungency? Is that what you're?
little bit of a weird.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Is that?
All right, now we're gonna go 3 sips in.
All right. You're how many in? I'm not.
Just one.
I have not done anything but smell it. So.
All right, well then start dipping while we talking.
Um,
Already coming off of the episode of
blind barrels.
Blind Barrel, which had super hot whiskeys.
This is not even close.
This is much more mellow
It was
of a
all
whiskey,
mellow.
but it's Irish whiskey, and Warwick and I are not normally big fans, but there have been a couple Irish whiskeys that we
Did you
thought
say
were good.
mork?
What?
Mork.
It sounded like mork.
It might have been Warwick with a little bit of a slur. Like,
Mork.
what?
Nano.
Yeah, okay, I'm 3 in.
Yeah, I'm 3 in as well.
I'm only 2 in.
Yeah, I mean it's. Yeah, I know. No.
All right.
No,
If you guys want to start getting your barrels ready, while I figure it out.
So we're going to show oh no,
Do
we're
it.
gonna have a movie. Yeah, we do have a lot of movies. No, we're not going to do that.
What?
Because we're doing a bourbon thing, a little picture-in-picture thing.
But
We haven't even talked about this. Is still a whiskey, baby.
yeah, this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
still,
okay.
We're not even ready
this is
for
still
that
the whiskey
stuff
part.
Okay.
So, yes, we're going to come up with our numbers.
Yeah.
As everyone knows, we have a 5-barrel numbering system, but also, as everyone knows, we have a hard time coming up with a single number. So generally, we will often do a 2-parted number, and some people will do a 3-parted number. And
Some people.
some people. So, and then the other people, like maybe this is your first time watching this, hopefully not. But the funniest part about this part
No,
of the
hopefully it is, and then go back and watch all the other ones.
funniest part about this part of the show is just how bad Logan is at
I cannot figure out.
getting his numbers correct.
Yeah.
Learning.
Unless it's a single number,
Unless it's
which
a single
I have
number,
a single
then he's
number.
okay. Okay.
Well, that's easy.
I
One.
may-
Oh wait, are you set?
I think so.
Oh,
I
he's
think he's already set.
contemplating.
I'm hesitant on my number, but it's just
I'm
makes my
also
life
kind of
easier.
hesitant. I might be too generous.
Yeah.
I
Hold
might be
on. I'm
generous as
changing.
well.
I'm changing. Yep.
Are we ready?
Yep.
1,
2,
3,
Whoa!
Oh, yeah. All right, Logan, what you
Okay.
got?
2.4.
Warwick had a 2.5.
I had a 2.5. Oh,
So yeah, I mean, it's funny as you kind of alluded to before. It's like the episode that we just recorded, which for you guys will be a week ago, um,
Minimum.
because that was so hot. Like, there's parts of this that actually, like when I first took the sip, I'm like, wow, this is like water.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we just came off of
It had a
130,
very, very
140 proof.
low hint of burn, though.
Yeah,
I got there was
very
a little
smooth,
very, yeah.
very smooth.
Um,
But it's still Irish funk.
yeah, it
I still
definitely
get
has
that
that kind
Irish
of
funk.
weirdness to it.
It's was it an after funk that you
Mm.
got? Because that's
Yeah,
that.
I think
It
it's
seemed
going
fine.
down and everything. It's
It
on the
seemed
back of
fine,
my
but then
tongue.
all of a sudden I was like, no, what is that? Why?
Yeah,
Why?
it was on the back of the tongue, and
Yeah.
then after it was gone, it just sat there.
yeah, I agree. I mean, again, it's like that wateriness, like was immediately kind of followed with just this like weird kind of funky taste.
It's like an aftertaste. Yeah.
A
Yes.
funky cold Medina,
Funky cold Medina.
for certain.
Thank you, Tone Loc.
There you go,
Okay.
poke, poke. Yeah, that was
I
kind of
did
quick and
finish it at
easy.
least.
I love the bottle.
Yeah, the bottle's
I
phenomenal.
love the concept that they did a Walking Dead version.
Yeah.
But how many times have we said before? It's like, how often is it that you have this amazing looking bottle that has crappy
liquor.
whiskey inside?
But this is Sexton. Sexton's supposed to be one of the high-end Irish whiskeys. It is a single malt. It is I think it's small batch, but it's still
What was the
Irish
blue
whiskey.
bottle that we tried? Was that
The
Irish?
blue bottle?
Remember?
That-
That was Atnam.
That
Yeah,
was
Adnam.
Adnam. That was the English
Adnam,
one.
that was English.
That was English. That
Yeah.
was, I thought it was
That was
Irish.
English.
The only thing that was cool about that was the color of the bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a nice
that
blue.
That was weird. Nobody else does it like that, and there's a reason.
Sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what she said.
The bottle's cool. It's cool to have on your shelf, but again, I don't buy whiskey just to have it on my shelf.
It's weird. I mean, honestly, I taste
Yeah.
water,
Yeah.
and then immediately just this weird flavor.
Yeah.
Do we want to try and guess price on it?
Oh, shit.
Well,
I
because
bought this literally like 4 years ago,
Oh,
4
really?
years ago. Yeah, but I'll look it up and see what the current price is.
Okay.
but just because of the Walking Dead side of it, I'm guessing that obviously is going to add a little bit of value to it. I still don't think it's going to be more than $70. So I'm going to go $69.99.
I was going to go very low. I was going to say 49. And the only reason is partly because of the fact that the Walking Dead side of it. I think it normally would probably be a $40 bottle, but just because of the Walking Dead.
Well, so what are your numbers?
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
What are your
I
numbers?
said 49.
I said like $69.99.
Because they don't even have that bottle on Benny's anymore because they're sold out. The normal Sexton is about 35. That Walking Dead limited edition is $32.
Wow. It's not, how limited can it possibly be if it's
If
cheaper
you're a
than
fan
the
of
regular
Walking
version?
Dead and Irish whiskey, Irish
You buy it
whiskey.
because you like the
Jesus.
show.
Freaking
Which
Wow.
Irish
I
whiskey.
did.
I did. That's a perfect way of saying it. It's like I used to
I
love the
bought
show.
it because I watched the show.
Wow. Okay. Well, good to know.
That was a quick one.
I mean, again, if you want to buy the bottle just so you can have it on your shelf because it's a cool looking bottle.
I'm gonna show the bottle again.
Yeah.
Yeah, zoom in.
Sexton. Yeah. I love the way you said that. Sexton. Yeah. Sounds like a 70s or 80s like car ad.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
like Sexton.
Sweet dreams you can't resist.
Okay.
All right.
S-E-X-T.
All right. So we got a lot of movies to talk about.
Yes, we do.
So as we kind of alluded at the beginning of this, there's 3 Popeye movies that came out like in very short succession, and rather than inflicting you guys on 3 separate episodes, we decided to watch all 3 of them and put it into a single episode. So we should still ultimately review them separately. So which one do we want to start
Let's
with?
start with Shiver Me Timbers.
Shiver Me Timbers. Okay, so
I do have a recap, sort of recap.
why do you do the recap?
So the origin story for Popeye on Shiver Me Timbers was that a meteor coming from the sky, which he thought was gigantic, was actually just a flake, lands in a sailor's pipe who's out fishing at night in the ocean.
That was a pretty accurate meteor.
And it and that was hilarious when it plopped in there. And that meteor caused him to become massively deformed, huge, and
Strong.
murderous.
Yes. So whilst we deliberate, we are going to show the trailer for it. Volume gets reduced a little bit. We'll kind of talk over it as we're kind of deliberating, and then we'll switch back. So that way, at least you have something to watch if you're watching, and you'll hear something if you are on audio. So let us think about what we're doing.
Done.
You already come up with Okay.
You talked about it for so long. I'm
Okay.
like,
Sorry. Okay.
So
Okay.
you can see right here. Maybe we should do this when we talk about it.
Yeah, we
could
could.
show some
Okay.
of the scenes because there's a guy who
So
gets
there, yeah, that's the
played and pipes, and that's the end.
basically.
So yeah, I mean, and it is that difficult thing. Like, there's not a single character in.
He's got a booger.
Did he?
He does. There's not really a single character that we like in clothing. He looks just like
Michael McDonald.
no oh my god, Beauty and the Beast, the original Beast.
Oh.
You think he was
Guys
also
did Hellboy?
Yeah.
Yes, it was in Sons of Anarchy.
Nelman.
No.
What the fuck?
Anyway,
Yeah.
I thought that the random character that you saw that one time that you never saw again. But okay, well we'll give our reviews.
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman.
Roman.
Okay, let's come back to us so we can do a review. Actually, I still didn't do.
That's you on the buttons. Do that.
I know. Okay, we're gonna switch
Okay,
back. Switch back to us.
He's back.
Okay, so I have a single number.
I also have a single number.
Okay,
1.
2.
3.
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Logan gives it a
All right.
1.3.
Warren gave it a 2.
Lon gave it a 2.
So
I can't believe you guys gave it a 2.
Well, I'll explain that in a minute. I can tell you why. Tell me why you hated it so much.
Yeah.
Live first.
You go first.
God damn it. This was one of those movies where I'm like, is this fucking over?
Right.
I get what they were trying to do. This honestly was one of those moments where I felt like this was a quick, like, let's hurry up and get something out.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yep.
don't. I thought it was funny that, hey, this little thing lands in this pipe. Maybe
Right.
not.
It had its moment.
Yeah, it had moments. Some of the kills were funny, but Popeye was complete CGI.
All CGI and not
and-
good CGI.
For most of it.
Well, and I get it. It's low budget. I mean, in all honesty, it was good CGI for low budget, but you could tell there needs a lot more work to be done there. I just one of my biggest irks throughout the entire movie was I don't even remember her name. She had the red hair.
Yeah.
I want to say
She was
Shelley.
one of the final girls.
So she didn't actually.
She literally
naked?
crawled the entire time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you still crawling? Like, just get up, move. Like, even if you walked and limped, you'd be about 1,000 times faster. It just irked the shit out of me. I felt like they tried too hard to grab too many different tropes from other movies. They tried to do 80s. No. I would not recommend watching this film. I
So-
think it was only 80 minutes or 73 minutes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So for me, this was the first one of the 3 that I watched,
Oh,
and I was like, oh my god, please tell me that the others are better.
I was the same way.
This was
Actually,
number
the
2
first
for
one I
me.
watched, yeah.
And I'll bury the lead a little bit and say the other 2 were at least better.
Well, that's not exactly a good
Yeah.
rating.
The bar was
Let's not-
pretty low.
Yeah.
To me, the only reason I gave it a 2 and not in the ones was, to me, the best scene / kill in the movie is the scene in the bathroom in the
Yes.
in the porta potty
Yes.
where he kills the guy and then he shits
down
in
his neck.
down his neck.
Rips his head off and shits not his
Like that to me was like, I'm like, wow,
But-
I don't think I've seen that
But I
before.
will say, even that, after he ripped his head off and kind of threw it behind him, then he turned around and he started taking it up. He was sitting so far down, I thought he was in the guy's lap. And
Yeah.
I thought,
Right.
wait, what is he shitting through the guy or something?
Yeah.
I said, did he
I thought
throw
he
the
was going to have
body
like a
out?
log come
Yeah.
out
How
and
is he-
actually like stab him in the
And
heart
then
or
when they showed it again with the pile of shit on his shoulders, then I'm like, oh, okay, he shit on him.
It just like, it's
Yeah.
to me, we'll talk about with the second one, assuming that we do Popeye the Slayer Man is the second one.
Sure.
To me, this had a little bit of that same issue that the second one had that we'll talk about, in that it's like they knew that it was in public domain, and so they wanted to get close, but they didn't want to get like too close.
There was a
Yeah.
race to get first.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
The
like they
first one
already
out was
had it on the
Popeye.
ready, and they thought, well, let's just in case so we don't get any lawsuits, let's make it as far away as possible.
Right, because
Well-
because obviously, and again, this is why I was so disappointed that this is the first one I watched, because it was like I'm like, because obviously in the cartoons and Popeye as the character, there's no like spinach. That's the reason why he's strong.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
like there's nothing about like some meteor falling down
Yeah,
and
it just-
that's what caused the problem.
I felt like it was just Popeye was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
Right, and it could have been anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, they literally retrofit a story to
Yeah.
fit Popeye.
Totally.
And even that, they didn't retrofit it very well.
No.
So the problems I had with it was that one, way too much CGI, and that's how you tell the same when you get the same blood splatter on
Yes.
every victim, because it's just they bought one CGI effect and they use it for every blood splatter. And the scenes took way too long. They had a story that could have been
They-
told in 10 minutes.
Every
And
scene.
They're walking on the beach, and I'm like, what does this got to do with anything? And then all three of them walking together. Then all of a sudden, two guys are sitting over, and she's walking down the beach.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
well, who cares?
Well, what about when the girl was sneaking back to climb into the tent?
And she
it
was
was literally
going
5
so
minutes
slow.
of
Yep.
Popeye.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then stopping and looking around, and she keeps crawling. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, God.
Absolutely.
I was like, really? This is still going on? Like, I
Absolutely.
mean, I honestly, I bitched throughout most of this
Oh,
movie.
yeah,
I mean,
as did I.
yeah.
But he didn't have the big forearms on this one.
No.
He just had
He's
regular
just a big
muscle
guy,
body.
yeah.
Right.
He had a bone for a pipe that didn't look like a pipe. I
Right.
mean, he used the guy's shin bone and hollowed it out. And I'm thinking, how did he hollow out that and cause it, and make it
Yeah.
up to
Did
me?
he eat the
No.
marrow?
Right? Did he suck out the marrow?
That would have made it
But
better.
even then, it was like this tiny
What?
little piece here, and then it goes to this gigantic pipe on it, and you're like,
And you could tell that was CGI.
It doesn't even
Right.
look like a pipe. Oh, because he's moving around and it's kind of floating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and the other problem I had was it's like
Yeah.
you saw so many meteors like fly through the sky,
Oh, for fuck's sake.
and
yeah.
it's like
Oh, yeah, you were supposed to be waiting for Haley's Comet. That was
Right,
the whole thing.
right.
Fuck, forgot
'Cause it
about
was
that.
back-
And even to that, it's like, yeah, okay, so I guess maybe that was why it was in 1986. But just it seemed like such a random thing that they put the date on there.
Honestly,
But-
what they should have done is had all of the people in this movie just put the black cloaks and wear black Nikes.
Well,
Yes.
If anybody gets that
Hell
reference.
boss.
Yeah.
my other point is when they were doing the 80s thing and they had the 80s sounding song and everything, but the clothing they were wearing, the phrases they were using, this was done by
like,
people who
I
were
don't
not
remember
born
stretchy pants back
No,
in the
anywhere
80s.
in the 90s. They were born.
Not at all.
The
in
one
the
guy did look
mid-millennium.
like he was kind of in the 80s. The
But-
one that was wearing like
It looked like what
those zebra pants.
millennials think 80s people should look like.
Yes.
It's not anything like.
I didn't hear totally.
Right.
There was
And,
none
of
that.
and again,
None of that.
there's so many just like the two thugs, that were
Oh,
like
Jesus
They
Christ.
beating
couldn't
up,
act their way out of it.
Oh my God.
No.
and they were just such like random characters,
Yeah.
to include in the story. It was just,
No, what made it even worse was the randomness that he shows up at the fucking end of the movie. That pissed
right.
me off.
Right.
I was
Which
like,
guy
why
showed
is
up at
he
the end
even
of the
still
movie?
around here?
Oh yeah.
He's the
of
one that
the
like
guys
jumps
who-
on him at the end and is like,
Yeah, he's like, what? He was just like fucked off and just like gone away.
And then he shows
Oh
up
my
again at the end.
Yeah.
Of it.
I,
So
I laughed at that part. I honestly laughed.
So
I
I
was like,
will
where the
say-
fuck did he come from?
I know we have 3 to cover, so
Yeah.
I'll make it quick. But I will say the reason I gave it a 2 instead of a 1.0 is because they did do that over-the-top thing that I do like. They did it horribly, but they did an over-top at the end where she had the gigantic, ridiculous saw
you
that
would have
couldn't
liked that.
possibly be used for anything,
Yes.
and she's sawing him away. Now, the downside to that is, she was sawing into Popeye, and it measly cuts halfway into him, and then for the next 10 minutes, it's
Oh,
still
Right.
yeah.
And he's not dead.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
He's
like,
still
like,
alive. And he's just shaking, and
But-
his CGI shaking because it's not even a real Popeye.
but I mean, to that point,
But-
it's like, so the guy in the factory is like, why would he have that weapon?
Right.
Bernice was her name.
Bernice is the one.
It's like, what, I would get it if it was like
She-
a badass shotgun or something or other. Like,
Well-
why would he have that weapon?
So I get the joke because they made a joke about that, because it was like the whole, Evil Dead
Yeah,
and he
the
goes,
Oh yeah,
chainsaw.
it was
I
totally.
get
They
it.
he
were
goes,
ripping
and
shit
she
off.
says,
left
"Why
and
do you have a chainsaw?" And she says, "Chainsaws are for children." And I thought that was kind of funny because she's making a joke of that. And then at the end, she had the gauntlet, and she said groovy, and
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
like,
I
"All
got, I
right,
got
I
it.
get it," but the rest of the movie was nothing like that. Like if they kept that style of humor, I would have loved it a lot more.
So it was to that point. It's almost like
Logan's
I'm
like
disagreeing.
I'm mad about it.
but it's almost like that was the set piece that they had,
Yeah,
and they're
right.
like, okay, we have this,
Yeah.
Make it work.
and we have
Right.
Popeye.
How do we fit it
How do we?
together?
It's
Yeah.
it's kind of like when
It makes no story
so,
sense.
sometimes you like hear musicians that like I had a hook or
Yep.
I had like a phrase in the wording
Yep.
and we created a song around it.
Yep.
Like this to me was like, yes, we want to kind of do a take on Evil Dead and the groovy and we can't use a chainsaw and oh Popeye,
Yeah.
it just seemed like how many things can we throw into a bucket and come up with story ideas?
Absolutely. Because they were in a hurry.
Yeah.
They only had a certain storyline that wouldn't fill an hour and a half or even an hour
Well,
and
in all
10.
honesty,
So
it
they
was all mostly CGI.
stretched
They
it
could have
out.
already had most of it filmed and then just CGI'd in Popeye.
That's which it looks like
That's
they did
honestly
that.
what they
That
probably
looks like
did.
what they did.
Okay.
So
Enough
the
time on
answer
that
is don't watch it.
Yeah.
Really,
Don't watch
really
Shiver
don't.
Me Timbers.
Really.
Was not worth it.
It is just, it's not good.
Sorry.
Okay.
Next up,
Next up,
Popeyes Revenge. I think we should do second.
do you want to do Revenge? Is the next
Popeyes
one?
Revenge.
I agree.
I
Yep.
might even.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so do the synopsis.
Popeye, the origin story for Popeye in this one is that Popeye was born a deformed kid who is not a sailor, who is not, there's no, spinach involved or anything like that. Who gets thrown in the basement because he gets kids making fun of him. He kills the kid, gets thrown in the basement. And apparently, in the room next door in the basement, also locked up, is his sister.
Which you don't.
But you don't know. He doesn't know. The kid doesn't know. The kid doesn't know it's his sister. Even.
Right.
And the sister, of course, is olive oil. Okay, so they get a quarter of a point for working olive oil into it. But that's it. So being locked in a basement and ignored by his parents makes him a psycho.
Well,
and he goes out.
and
Well, oh, wait, you forgot though.
Hmm.
Didn't they? So
the townsfolk.
Spit it out.
the-
Oh, the town.
I,
Right,
yeah,
the
I don't know
rest.
if I should wait till after I give it a rating. You gave your synopsis.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
But
yeah.
go.
you could say that part that the townsfolk come burn
Townsfolk
down the house.
eventually because he does pop a kid. He
Papa Pie.
So,
Papa-
okay.
Papa Kid.
so this was okay.
Papa Roach.
I got what they were trying to do here, which I thought was funny.
Mm-hmm.
He chokes a kid to death
Right.
and pops his eyes out, and that's
Yes.
where he gets the name Popeye. Sorry. Anyway,
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
So let's
I
do our
did not
barrels
mention
on this
that.
one.
So we'll do the same thing before. We'll play the trailer and we'll work out what our score is.
And we can say during this trailer, right? 'Cause we can talk during this.
Yeah, we can talk.
Right.
They can hear.
So
it. Yeah.
the thing with this trailer is the quality of this looked like it was going to be better.
It was
I-
it was
It
definitely
did.
better quality.
I had hopes,
than the
except
other
for the acting and with this group here.
Yeah,
They were
English was not their first
disgusting.
language.
one. You mean
But
stepping back their English?
I want to point out that again, Popeye in this one is just a normal dude.
Yeah, Popeye.
He's just got big forearms in this case. At least he's got the forearms. And he's got a burn mark on the side of his face because of the fire when the village set fire. But basically, well, all right, I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
Let's
You
just
are.
rate it. Let's just rate it.
Okay, so we ready? I'm going to switch
Hold on.
back to us.
Yep.
Wait.
Okay. Tell us
Okay.
when you're ready, Logan.
I'm ready.
1.
2.
Wait.
That was the same logic I had.
Okay.
So, Mr. Lynch,
1.5.
and what did you give the last one?
1.3.
Okay, so this is a fraction above that.
I gave it 2.1. I gave the last one, I think, a 1.
No, you gave it a
No,
two.
you
He
gave
did
it
that
two.
because there were
And
boobs.
that's exactly what I did. I gave it a 2 or 1 point. Sorry, 2.1. Did I do that? No, I was right.
2.1?
No,
2.1.
You gave it
you did it
1.2.
wrong this time.
No, I had it right, but then I
Yeah.
just switched it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, 1.2.
No,
Yeah,
2.1.
That it's 1.2 on the screen.
No, it's not.
That's
1.1.
No, that's 1.2.
There you go. Hey, see now you know how it feels.
You
Jerk.
could never complain about Logan again.
Yep.
Oh,
done.
I will though.
I just gotta get Warwick
I
to do
will.
it, and we're golden.
Oh, I
Gave
can,
it a-
of course.
I know.
Gave it a 2.1 because it was the last one I gave a 2, and this was barely above that.
So
Okay.
I want to go first,
Yep.
even though
Go for it.
I think
Go
some,
for it.
Sock it
so
to me,
to be
baby.
honest, and you did touch on it. So this
I
is
know where he's going.
the only reason why I gave this any better result, a score than the last one, is because at least there was some tits and ass in this. Um, and I'm sorry for all our female listeners.
There was some mild
It,
It's
it,
He's
horror.
not a
Part of horror.
misogynist in any
Part
way,
of
shape,
horror.
or form.
it's like some of the women were somewhat cute. I thought
That's a stretch, but okay.
I thought the story was just was also fucking ridiculous. But at least this was a little bit closer to somewhat of the story because even though, I'm sure you guys noticed it, even though everything you said in the origin story was correct, that it really wasn't necessarily related to spinach. Did you
No.
see that there was actually a spinach
There
can?
was.
But it was ancillary. It had nothing to do with the story. It was just sitting a spinach can in the corner.
Right.
Like you're assuming that he ate it when he was a kid in the basement.
Yeah.
Like,
but I'm like,
so
I
what?
at least gave them some appreciation for the fact that there was at least
Why was he wearing a
spinach in it.
sailor outfit? Did they explain why he's in a
That
sailor
that was the
outfit?
thing when he was a kid, which he would have grown out of that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
they
this,
gave him a new sailor suit that fit him when he
yeah,
got older.
He went to the store and
Of
bought it.
yes.
course he did.
this movie ripped off so many tropes. Think about it.
Well,
The
they
kid he kills somebody. The townspeople come after him, set his house on fire. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well,
He-
or Frankenstein.
Yep, he leaves. Eventually gets out, goes into a lake because he was on fire, drowns, so to speak, and then comes back alive.
Well,
Okay, Friday the 13th.
Comes
Like-
back alive like when the fog.
Oh yeah,
comes in.
only when the fog. Yeah, the fog, aka the fog
Yes,
movies.
but you're right. It was so there was
It's
so
like they just literally threw a
They
dart
told-
at
they told
everything
you
and said,
s-
"How do we
right.
combine all of
Yeah,
them?"
Right,
what-
they took all the stories.
You know what I need?
Absolutely.
I need something for this.
Uh-oh.
you need a biscuit.
Oh boy. Oh, pour me some of that, bro.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's do
Okay.
this. All
I'm
right.
tired of bad whiskey.
Ugh.
Okay.
Bad
on.
whiskey and bad movies.
Be
Let's
nice,
go.
be nice, be generous, be
Wait.
friendly. Oh, see, this is
See, that's
love.
a deep one.
This is
All
love.
right.
All right.
Look at him go.
Wow. That's good. Thank you, sir.
Good pour.
Oh, yeah.
Look at
Oh.
that. Notice how it's easier to pour too. A little more. A little more.
So now we're gonna drink
Oh,
this. We're
yeah.
gonna give the last movie way better ratings.
Yeah.
But so
Please.
basically, and I agree with Logan 100% on this. It's basically a cabin in the woods story
Yes.
that has been done a million
exactly.
times by every other horror movie in the world.
There was nothing original. At
There
all.
was
No.
nothing original like this. It could have been any other creature in the world, and they just put
And even
Popeyes.
Blair
into it.
Witchy, right? Like they're
Absolutely,
going.
because
There's
it was-
people that were going to the house.
Yep.
Well, and I really felt like they even stole from the new Friday the 13th because the first 10 minutes of the movie they didn't even give you the freaking the title screen until like 10
Oh, yeah,
minutes into the
until-
movie.
yeah,
I was like,
until
oh,
the
that
movie.
Friday the 13th did that
Yeah.
on the remake in 20. Oh, just,
Yes, I mean I agree. I mean
Oh, see.
like to me the only thing that this gave part of the reason other than TNA,
Even that was.
I think the production value of this movie was just so much better than
It was.
than the first
It
one.
was. They knew how to do
But
fog. That
Popeye
didn't
pissed
look
me
like
off
a
in this
fog
one.
machine.
Popeye pissed
Well,
me off.
because
in
he
this one.
wasn't Popeye. He
Yes.
was anybody. Could have been
And he's
anything.
breathing heavy. And he's like, it's like, okay, are you
My
Frankenstein? Are you
favorite part of this movie though was the ultra slow mower
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
that I didn't even quite understand what
That he's lying down there going,
I got like Austin Power vibes
yes,
from that one.
like trying to go back and forth.
Yeah, it's like
It was so fucking ridiculous.
It was so bad.
It's like I just don't understand why. Okay, I'm just gonna get up and move,
yeah,
rather than just
even
wait.
though I've got a
wait-
net, I mean, I could roll to one
Right.
side,
Yes,
like when,
right.
yeah.
It
There
was
was a million things he could have done to get out of that.
So
it was
what I
silly.
also got pissed off about was the fact that he struggles. Now I don't know if it was just because they wanted her boobs on screen more, but the girl in the sauna when
Yeah,
she
jacuzzi.
tells the guy
In the hot tub.
jacuzzi, sorry, the boyfriend or
yeah.
guy that she was banging leaves, and she's sitting there, and he struggles to drown her.
And he doesn't reach around.
Well, yeah, oh yeah, and then he did the squeeze. I liked that part. I laughed at that. But
But
then
like,
I found it funny that not even 5 minutes later, he's got a guy on a dock and he's ripping the guy's spine out. It's like
Yeah,
you couldn't
yeah,
hold a fucking 60, 70-pound girl
Right,
underwater
right.
for 30 seconds, but yeah, you could rip a guy's spine out
Well,
just by him sitting there.
Yep.
And the point is, to exactly that same point, it's like so he puts the anchor around her first,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, well this is a head gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna
But
pop
like-
it off.
He's
But nope.
just like pulling, and it doesn't kill her, And then as he's doing that, yes, he's grabbing a boob, and
I thought he was going to pop the tit off. I was
totally
hoping.
thought.
I would have given him more props for
Yep.
that.
What was
for
the
that kill.
fucking
You
More
need
point?
props to it.
There was no
What
point.
was the point of like grabbing
There
a
was no
boob
point.
other than just simply for the tittle?
He might as well just
titillation?
grabbed her head and said, "Well, blow me down." And I mean, come on.
See, I would have laughed at that.
There, that
But
would have seen.
You should have done this movie.
I could have.
And the other thing about it is other than yes, I gave it a little bit extra rating because of the TNA. It's like, okay, so she was making out with her not boyfriend and took her top off, but there's other people around.
Yeah, and then after he left, she still left the top
Like,
on.
why wouldn't she just
And
put
she
her
didn't
top
go under the
on?
water either. She stayed up. We're watching this. My wife said the same thing. It's like, anytime you want to put the top back on, honey, because it's like, what?
As Lon's like, no, this is fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
It just made no sense. They're
Yeah.
like, but
It was all for.
I
show.
give them props for a few things, only a few. One, he did have an anchor as a weapon.
Yes.
I thought that was good.
That was good.
Uh,
That gave me vibes though of what was that one? A violent nature.
Violent Nature.
Yeah,
That was a
it
great
reminded me
movie.
kind of similar of that.
I
Like,
love
I
that
watched
movie.
that.
That's
the
how you
other
do a
week.
low budget movie, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I think you didn't like that movie. Oh, I thought
It
it
was
was a great
okay.
movie.
I still
but,
think that was better than this.
But the thing is, the whole point is this was another one of the stories that was just a story that they inserted Popeye into.
Could have been anyone.
Could have been anyone.
Yeah.
They gave him the anchor that was kind of cool. There was no explanation as to sailor suit really. The forearm thing was a deformity at birth, which is not Popeye's origin. It was nothing to do with Popeye's
It
origin.
gave me hope though at the beginning because they did a whole like cartoon, like
Sure.
storyboard type thing in the beginning. I'm like,
But
oh,
it was, but the explanation was like stupid.
yeah.
Right. Well, and again,
Their
for me,
backstory sucked.
having watched Shiver Me Timbers first, I started watching this and I'm like, wow, immediately the production value is clearly so
Yes.
much better.
Yep.
I felt immediately the story was better, and hence that's why I rated it what it was. I think overall, I would still not necessarily recommend it unless,
No. No.
literally you have nothing else to do.
No, if you got nothing else to do, go to bed.
Yeah.
Don't watch.
Go rub one off.
Okay.
It's
Don't
still
watch
gonna be
this.
way better.
Yeah, you could go watch porn if you really want to see boobs, just for boobs. No,
Okay.
it's not. Her boobs aren't that great. So
No, they aren't. Like, it's
So-
it is really funny because like the people that
because she was pretty fugly.
yeah, the one that ultimately showed her boobs was not necessarily that attractive. It was the original girl, the blonde, that you saw in a bikini. But
Yeah.
that was about it.
Yeah, that was all you saw.
Anyway, okay, so that's that one done. So the
Yeah.
last one is
Popeye the Slayer Man.
So what's the synopsis on this?
So the origin story from Popeye the Slayer Man is a sailor. So he starts off as an actual sailor,
in the docks or on the docks.
turned into a killer by eating contaminated spinach.
Ding 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 ding.
Why did nobody else think of this?
I know.
So he worked at a spinach factory, which was on the docks. So he was a sailor, worked at a spinach factory. He ate the spinach. It caused him to go crazy. The plant closed down because it was contaminated spinach. He ended up killing his wife and others. And he had a daughter that
Wait.
disappeared. What?
The wife was not killed. She went missing.
She went missing.
Yes.
That's true. You're right, because that comes into play a little
Yes, it
later
does.
on. And was I mistaken? But was the wife Olive Oil?
Yes,
Because
it
the
was.
daughter was
Yes.
Olivia.
Ollie. Yeah,
Yes.
Olivia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ollie, sorry, was the other movie. Fuck.
Okay. So he turns
All right.
psycho because of that, and there is a twist. Do I give the twist? I'll give
No,
the
no, no,
twist
what's
after we rate it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
we'll rate it first.
same thing. Watch the trailer. Once we come up with the numbers. So I will say before I actually give
Hell
my
is all
numbers,
this
that
stuff for?
part of my
It's the
number
equipment I shipped
giving
out for my documentary.
is going to be in
Oh, is
relation
that pirate man thing
to
you
the
were
other.
going on
'Cause that's
about
what
in
you
class
do.
the other
Sailor
day?
man.
We all knew
That's
it.
what it's about.
Tonight's the last
But
night
see,
we
when
get
you're
inside.
looking at this part here, the video quality is better than the last
They're,
couple.
you know,
The
aware
kills
of
were
the
good. We'll talk about all that
charming
stuff in a
stories
minute. There were still some
circulating about this
average
place.
I
acting.
don't believe in
Yeah,
ghost
like that guy
stories.
sucked.
He's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
a ghost.
No, he looked familiar.
Sailing on
Hoping
is
nothing.
real.
Most of them suck. But that looks like Popeye.
Yeah, yeah.
He doesn't take.
Although it's so funny because
Lizard
after
was
that
stopping
scene,
every
that guy
steps.
somehow still managed to be able to use that
She's
hand.
just doing
So
some
lock
scared
And
work.
lock the door on
Why
the way out. When you're running from the killer,
She said they're going
why
to
do you lock the door on your way out?
Anyway, okay,
Okay.
okay,
All
okay.
right,
Screw
good.
down there.
Okay,
I'm ready.
okay, okay.
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 All right, is everybody ready?
I'm
Yeah.
ready.
1,
2.
3.
what Logan, is that a
It's a 1.7.
1.7?
Yeah, it's a 1.7.
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
well, let's go through it. 1.7.
For Logan.
I had a 2.5.
I had a 3.1.
Okay.
What? You give it a
I gave it a
holy shit.
3.1.
I-
You know
I-
You
what?
got to go first then, because I need to know what the fuck
I was
you
going to go
watched.
with a 3.
Okay, so the reason I gave it a 3.1
Oh.
was because after watching two pieces of shit on Popeye,
And that's the key.
when I saw this one, I thought, thank God, at least they gave him a normal origin story that makes sense.
See, I started off with this one.
Oh, really?
I went Popeye the Slayer Man, Popeyes Revenge, and then Shiver Me Timbers.
Wow, you went from good to worse.
Yeah.
You went from
Yes.
average to worse.
Yeah.
This is not
Yeah,
a great
average
movie,
worse, yeah.
but let's face it, I was excited that finally it wasn't a piece of shit.
Yep. And they kept to the story.
They
They
kept
kept
to the story.
roughly, at least, to the story of that we know of Popeye.
They
It
were
was
the
good
closest out of
practical
the three.
effects.
Yeah.
Not a lot of CGI, very minimal CGI.
And to the point you were saying when we were kind of watching the trailer, like to me, like I thought the evil businessman was like fucking horrible as an actor,
Absolutely.
and the realtor was also somewhat kind of crappy.
Yes.
But actually, I thought
Yes.
genuinely
That was a good kill, though. Of the realtor.
Oh, yeah.
oh my god, yes, it was great. But I thought genuinely the main characters I actually thought were pretty good acting.
They weren't great, but they were good.
other
like-
than the bad boyfriend that was like hurting, like he was kind of wooden.
He was over the top. Yeah, he was a one-dimensional character. But I thought Olivia was okay most part, but she still had the same look where she was always doing this.
Yeah.
So, but again, it was a spinach-related Popeyes story, origin story. He also used an anchor, not the whole time, but he did use an anchor as a weapon.
Especially when he like cut the guy's
When he cut the
head
guy's
off.
head off,
It took multiple chops, though, which was a little upsetting.
Yes.
right, because it's a big fucking anchor.
Yeah.
Gone through. But little things like that made it a little bit sucky. But like he lived in this thing and nobody ever saw him. He even did his laundry and hung up his several sailor outfits and everything. It's like he was a normal fucking dude.
Yeah.
that
Stay out of his home.
because he was a little bit mental fucked up from the spinach.
To me, the only problem I actually had with it was this has been, the place closed down like 20 years ago, and really this is the first time that someone's gone
Someone's
in and,
actually found it.
like
There was
and
no
found it.
vandalism. There were still equipment and boxes and
Right.
supplies with no dust on them everywhere. I agree.
Yeah, so that was a little bit weird, but like,
That had not been closed down for decades.
I thought the story was like it's a little bit like been done before. The idea that hey, there's some story that everyone talks about. So there's some guy that wants to thinks himself as a documentary filmmaker. So let's go out and do a documentary film about this thing.
Right.
That
Like
part
going
is,
out into the woods.
that part has been done before.
It has.
I will say,
overdone.
As a Blair Witch
it's whatever her name was,
The heroine.
yeah, the one who's ultimately
Olivia.
the
Olivia was
daughter.
the-
Olivia,
Olivia.
yes, yeah. It's as soon as they said her name, I knew exactly. And
You
the
knew
fact,
that was his daughter.
right, and as soon
Right.
as she said that it was like oh yes, I used to live here, but like I went away and I just came back. I'm like, yeah, she obviously knows
Right.
like Popeye and knows the
Right.
story.
It was still good that they gave it a twist like that. So they tried to do some story angle with that. And they, because it's Olivia and Olive Oil and was the mother and stuff like that. So they did try to keep to the original story. And he even called her Sweet Pea,
Right. Yes,
when
yes.
he realized who it was. And so
No.
at least they stuck to the story.
My biggest pet peeve, though, was you could barely understand what he was saying.
Yeah,
They should have made it, because he did have a lot of quotes. He said, "I am's what I am,"
Yep,
and stuff like that. And I was
yep.
like, great, but it was like, I'm like, what the
It
fuck?
was-
I actually put on subtitles just to
It
make sure I heard
was
what I was.
difficult to hear.
I do give them credit for kills, but multiple people breaking the wrists with
Mm.
bone protruding. I was like, okay,
He
you
did
kinda
that
did
twice.
Yeah,
That
I
was
was
a
like, you already
letdown
did
that
it.
they used the same
Now,
guy.
what I would have been nice is if they would have upgraded it. So like the first time he did it, great. Second time he did it, and then maybe stabbed a guy with it or something. Then that would have been
rip
like,
the
oh
hand all
hey,
the way
yeah,
off
it's
or
not the same
something.
exact thing.
Yep,
It's honestly they could have probably reused the footage from the first one. For all
I think
know.
they did.
It was pretty damn
I think
close.
they did.
This one was honestly the best of the three.
100%.
But it was just, and that's why I was really frustrated because everything went downhill for me after this because this was the main one. But I did not. There were parts of me where I'm like, okay, like the one thing that bothered me was the one guy getting hurt and then leaving and then locking the gate. I'm like,
Locking the
why
door
would you
behind
waste
him
that time?
with a broken
Yeah.
arm. He's
And
Right,
then
right,
on
right.
top of that, you go in, you get in your car, and you try to leave, and somebody picks up the back end of it, and you're like, "Whoa, why isn't it going?" And wouldn't you be looking behind you, like just instinctively? But
Well, and to that same
Yeah,
point,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I have a problem with movies in general where like the main character somehow manages to materialize like all over the place.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like he was running away, Popeye was following him, and again, it's a very Michael Myers thing, but
Mhm.
like where it's like he's not running after him,
yeah.
he's just walking normally.
I call that the Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah,
Do you guys remember? Like
Yeah,
it was
because he
always
just showed up.
everybody's running from Pepe Le Pew, like
And
they're
he pops
afraid of
out
him,
from under
and
a
then he's
rock.
just like,
Yep.
yes.
and shows up. Like, yeah,
But like the fact that he somehow managed to find a different exit that wasn't locked and get behind the guy without him noticing and lift the car up.
yeah,
Like it just it's like I don't like movies that are just plot points happen just very conveniently.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know.
they
So
the couple, the blonde, I can't remember her name for the life of me. Not
Yes.
were okay. The guy
here we
is
go.
trying to reach for a bar, holding on to a bar.
Yes.
Wouldn't you jump for the bar? Why would you reach
Yeah.
and go oops and then fall?
Mhm.
I did like how they did kind of draw that out a little bit more, where
Yeah.
his leg got stuck and he ends up pulling the things on him. But I thought it was the dumbest thing ever that the girl goes up and does the exact same thing. I called that while I was watching. I'm like, she's going to do the exact same thing because there's no reason for him to just be laying there like that and then making a big deal about
Yep.
it.
Yep.
But some of the deaths were kind of stupid, but the there were some
Agreed.
decent ones in there. Just being able to the guy that played Popeye did a decent job, but there was too much prosthetic. I felt like you couldn't. You,
The mask, he did have
But
a
at
and they
least
mask.
it
tried
was
to
real.
yeah, and they
Yeah,
tried to
And
make
not
it
it
was
too
CGI.
dark a lot of
It was the
times,
big chin. He had the squinty
which
eye.
was probably
I think he had
hiding
a
the
scar.
prosthetics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I did like. So I will give them props for the main reason I gave them the 1.7 is the fact that like they went with, you know, the contaminated spinach. He had been eating it. Olive oil was the whistleblower
Right.
that tried to tell on him,
Right.
tell on the corporation.
Yep.
Then she went missing, which then made him go insane. Um, but the one thing that bothered me about that was then the girl kept blaming it on the spinach. She kept saying, "It's the spinach, it's the spinach." Okay, well, unless he stops eating it, he's not going to stop killing. So,
Right.
and you're not trying to stop him from eating it. So,
And you're not going to save him and say, "Oh, Dad, don't you remember me?"
yeah,
And he'll be okay.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God,
yeah.
it's
You just
my
distracted
sweet
him is
pea.
all
I'm
you're
Right. Well,
doing.
fine.
and also just the fact that it's like so she's been gone for like how many years?
Yeah,
I
And
think that did they
like
say?
at least 15, right?
Yeah, I think they said 15. I can't remember if I'm mixing up. The 15 years was the lake one,
yeah.
Shiver Me Timbers, or
That,
but
so that is the one downside of watching three back-to-back movies.
everything blends.
So other than Shiver Me Timbers, which obviously had nothing to do with Popeye at all, but the one thing I did think was actually funny about this. You okay? Don't die me.
Warwick wants to give you mouth to mouth.
No, I really don't. But
I hope I hit the mute right.
yeah, it's still coming out on our microphones. There you go. So the one thing that I was going to say, like when we're talking about Shiver Me Timbers, and I kind of mentioned it a little bit in that kind of review. The other thing I thought was actually funny about this one was um, they actually kept on referring to him as the Slayer Man,
Yes.
Right.
and didn't really call him Popeye. And
Yes.
I wonder whether that again
Well-
was their little way of trying to skirt around in case any kind of legal problem came up afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't seem like they should have to because that's the whole point of be able to put the movie out is because it's Popeye on the title. Popeye, the
I get
Slayer
it, but like I
Yeah,
don't
but it's probably cheaper for them to pay for written versus saying it probably in the movie,
right,
right?
but
So
also it's like I don't know when the dates happened, so I was like, is this something that was being produced knowing that that date was coming up and they were going to be putting it
Well,
out.
it did seem like the most thought out storyline.
And,
Yes,
that,
it
and,
did.
that, and that's what I mean.
And that's why I
Probably
gave it as
more
high
the
a score as I did.
Right.
That's
I felt
probably
like
more
they
the
actually
case.
put thought into it and said, okay, well, how can we modernize this, right?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
that's
But
probably a chance. But
beyond that, it was.
clearly the best of the three.
I would recommend if you're really just want to be able to say you've seen a Popeye horror movie,
I agree.
this
100%.
would be the one.
I think that is exactly the way to look at it. It's like when you're Friday night or Saturday night and you're like, hey, want to watch a horror movie? I've heard there's some
No tits and ass though.
no,
No,
no.
none.
No.
And the main dark hair girl, Olive, was actually really cute.
Yeah.
Eh,
Did you call her Oliver?
Olive oil. He said it.
Said
Olive. Olive.
Okay.
Oliver.
Oliver. See? Olive.
No, Olive.
Olive.
That's
Olive.
just the,
It's
when he does
Olive.
his V's, it comes out there.
Olive. If you feel like you need to watch a Popeye movie, this is 100% the one to watch.
Is there multiple Steamboat Willie ones too now? Maybe we should do another one of these with Steamboat
I don't
Willies.
know.
I know there's the
I
one
know
with
there's one.
David Howard Thornton, but
Yeah.
and then I know there's a Peter Pan one too.
Peter Pan,
The
yeah.
Peter Pan and Neverland one, but that
And
has
then- and
nothing
then-
to do with Peter Pan.
But there's a Piglet one as well.
Yes. Fuck.
So yeah. So watch Popeye the Slayer
Okay,
Man.
this is like almost like the news to me. Being first doesn't mean you're always right. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
just because you reported on something first, like just because you made the first Popeye movie,
But you know what?
Popeye horror movie. Sorry.
Here's the thing. The first one in this whole thread of public domain was Winnie the Pooh,
Yes, it was.
Right.
Blood and Honey.
Yeah.
And that was a piece of shit.
But it made a shit ton.
But it made a ton of money because everybody's like, oh my God, they did Winnie the Pooh. This is crazy.
I think that clarification. I don't think it made a shit ton of money. I think it made a lot of money
It made-
compared to how much they spent on
I
making
think it was kind of like the whole. Just see, even she.
Yeah,
did
they
this.
like it.
But yeah, it was just the first.
But it
And
also parlayed into a sequel. He got tons of money. He got more
I still
money.
haven't. I never saw the second.
I
Yeah,
didn't
I-
either
I
because the
haven't
first one was
Yeah,
so
but people
bad.
did. I
don't
did
wanna watch
hear from others that it is better than the first one.
Well, it can't be worse.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tigger's in the second one. That's the only
Ooh,
reason I
good.
watch it. But then you get Piglet, the spin-off, Piglet.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to do one on that because
Which
Yeah,
is
you
so
could
funny
do all
because,
three of those.
because in Blood and Honey, like did
Piglet was in
Piglet
that.
even talk?
No, he
in
did
that
not.
one?
He did not
no,
say a word.
The point is this Piglet has nothing to do with Blood and Honey.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
a
really?
completely
Independent
separate.
Piglet movie has nothing to do with
It's an
Blood and Honey.
independent Piglet.
Yeah.
It's literally a dude who puts on a pig mask.
Okay.
Mm.
They don't even try to make him Piglet from Winnie the Pooh. They just
Oh, really?
call him Piglet.
Well,
It
there you
has
go.
nothing to do with
Wow.
the Winnie the Pooh stuff. But
So disappointed.
but that's out there. And
You know what? Let's brainstorm here.
okay,
Because we could probably make a movie in fucking 10 minutes.
yeah,
Let's think of this.
absolutely.
What's
Which one
a
are we
what's
gonna
a
do?
public
Sorry.
domain character, or soon to be
Make a
public domain?
movie and fucking 10 minutes?
Yeah, that's you could probably do both. Depends how quick you are. Let's go. No, but okay. What's something we say we'll make up something that's going to be in the public domain in like the next year? What would be?
Well, we need to see that.
Okay, we'll say Woody Woodpecker. There you go. Fuck, that's probably already in the public domain. But
I could
Woody
think
Woodpecker.
I could think of a porn movie.
Rin Tin Tin.
Oh, there you go. Rin Tin Tin.
The second Mickey Mouse movie, actually the original when it came out as Mickey Mouse.
Oh, Tintin. You could do a
1929.
Tintin
Tintin.
movie.
Pluto, Betty Boop.
Oh, so that was another thing that bothered me about these movies. No, is it Brutus?
Brutus.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no Brutus.
I was waiting for the Brutus to be the boyfriend.
Oh yeah, or
Right.
I thought they were gonna go like
That
the
is a
whole
really
like
good point.
what's his name from Karate Kid.
It's-
They were like the
Is it Brutus
the
or
Netflix
Pluto?
Pluto. I think it's Pluto. Anyway, I thought they were
Yes,
gonna flip it and
it
have
is
like
Pluto.
Pluto be the good guy.
Right.
That would have been
That
fucking
would have been
great.
something.
Oh.
That would have been something.
See, like
The misunderstood
in
villain.
the last one, I think it would have been great if ultimately Bluto turned out to be like the evil person, and it was Popeye that ended up like
Saving the day.
saving
Yeah.
all of it.
Anything.
Olivia.
Look at this. That took us what 30 seconds to figure that out. Fuck
Yep.
me. All right.
But I wonder whether, to be honest, for the same reason that Blood and Honey didn't have Tigger, because Tigger hadn't reached that point that was in the public domain.
Correct, because Goofy and Donald Duck don't come up until 28 and 29.
Right.
Is Goofy and Donald
So
Duck.
I
they
wonder
can't be in.
I wonder whether Brutus is
There you go. Okay.
is
Idea.
later.
That could be. That could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goofy movie, but you call
They've already done it.
I know. No, hold on. A goofy horror movie,
Yeah.
and they call it Gorge, but it's spelled
Gorsh.
G-O-R-E-S-H. Gorsh.
I like that.
Gorsh.
That's kind of funny.
That's
Done.
actually pretty good.
Already, I
Fucking
think it's
done.
better than what
Yep.
what Popeyes put out.
Okay, so I think we're actually
All right,
really
yeah, we're
long,
over.
really
All
long,
right,
because
all
I
right,
forgot
all
to hit the timer. So we're,
Again, you motherfucker.
but we're at 49 on here, so which means we're probably on an hour.
Oh my
right.
God.
Hey, but we just did 3 movies in an hour. That's 30
If
minutes
I could
pop.
look at the screen over there, I'd actually work it out.
Okay.
No, not even
All
30
right.
minutes
We're
pop.
done. We're
Okay,
good.
well remember, we have to do the outro.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Thanks for
comment,
coming on.
subscribe.
Yep,
You're going to
do
see an
that.
outro.
And
Thank
No,
you.
no, you have to.
That's
oh,
gonna be in the
sorry.
outro, you dumbass.
No,
Okay.
I don't know.
Here we
I
go.
had a lot of alcohol.
Here we go. Here we go.
Thank you for joining us.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Follow us on social media.
Oh, shit.
What did you do?
What happened?
Went down the wrong pipe.
Okay, let's just continue. Ignore him.
Everyone for joining us.
Like-
On another. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Like,
I would. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
And follow us on social media. Right here.
Want to do like 5 million takes?
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Be sure to follow us on social media.
About this one.
What's the matter with that? What's the matter
I
with
said
that one?
feeling good about this one.
What's wrong with that one?
Nothing was
Nothing.
wrong with it.
I don't know what the fuck you're doing for it.
I'm pointing to.
Pointing does nothing.
But
This is a
but
social
but
media.
you see it on
talk.
different lines, and
yes,
so I'm like,
but do you
I'm
know where
pointing-
the lines actually
By the way,
are?
no one can see you because there's a big logo right here.
That's
I
the
know, they can
point.
hear me, though.
No,
We
they
did that on
can't.
purpose.
I'm Logan Lynch,
We're
over
gonna,
here.
we're gonna
Nobody listens.
cut that out.
Who the fuck is Logan Lynch? Who names
Best.
himself
That sounds like a made-up name to
Doesn't
me.
it though? Amen.